Alright, guys, let us try to look at Python. And what we are going to do this time is looking at an array in Python. And much of our attention will be required in here because we are going to deal with something that is a little bit more different from any other thing that we have dealt with. So I'm going to declare a class which I will call a car, and the car will have a constructor that accepts two arguments. It will be the model and also the price. And those two parameters I'm going to set self.model equals the model that you will pass, and self.price will be equals to the price that you will pass in there. And the question is, why am I using self there? Right, so what I'm going to do there is the following. Now I'm using self.model equals the model that you will pass in there, and self.price equals to the price you will pass in there. And why am I using self and not just maybe say model? Because I could have chosen to do this and I wouldn't have any problem. I could have decided to do this, but I'm using self because I want to have access to model even if I am outside of this class. So that's why I'm using self there. So please see it in that way. Right, and then when that is done, what I want to do is to what I want to do there is to declare a method which I will call print data, and the method will accept no arguments because all it has to do is to just print out for me the model. So let me just do this and use the self.model. There it is. And you see now, very important, when I say self dot, what is it that self has? Self has a model and a price. So there they are. So whatever that you pass in there will be inside self, and self will pass this into here. So I'm going to copy this and paste, and then here it's not the model, it's the price. So I'm going to use the price there. Very good. So the method only prints out the model and the price of the object that I will have created. And then secondly, what I'm going to do is to have another class which I will call a car dealership. So I'm going to have a car dealership class, and this class defines a constructor. It defines a constructor that will accept no arguments, and all it has to do is just to use self dot, I'm going to call this cars, and this is equals to an empty array. Very important. So via self.cars I'm going to add into my array. This is exactly what I'm going to do then. And then after I have declared this method, this constructor, and I'm having a variable self.cars which is equals to an empty array, I'm going to define another method because this one was a constructor, and this method will be responsible for sorting the objects by price. So I'm going to call this sort let's say by price, and this method will accept no arguments, and all it has to do is just to go to self dot cars, and when you press the dot there is a method in there, and then this method is called sort. So you pass in there the key, very good, and this is equals to lambda. You just say this is equals to lambda, and then you provide a variable, whatever variable that you want there. You can say the variable is x, and then via the variable, when you say x dot, and then you just say price there, and the price in here has to be the same as the price there. Very, very important. So it will take the price of every object instance you have, and it will sort this by price. If I wanted to sort by model, I could have done so, but it would require more coding in order to do that. So for simplicity, I'm going to sort by price. And then when that is done, this method that I have, so I'm fine with this, nothing else that I want to do. Let me define a list of cars data. Let me define a method that will be able to run inside of your for loop and be able to print every object instance that you have in there. So I'm going to define a method which I will call the list of cars data. So this will be a list of car sorry, let me do this. So this will be the name of the method. The method will also accept no argument, so it will run a for loop which I will call car in self dot cars, because that is where I have my list of array objects in there. Very, very important. And then what is it that it should do inside there? Now the first thing that it should do, I want it to print a line, just some dashes, and then after I want you to go to car dot print data. Very, very important. Now what is this car? It's just a variable in your for. So car dot print data. Do I have a method in self dot cars? Now remember, we are in self dot cars, so when you say car dot, remember self dot has a method. Very, very important. It has a method called print data, and you have passed in self there. So self dot cars has a method called print data. Very important that you try to understand this. So let me just fix the problem in here. And then after that, what is it that I want? I think I'm fine. This is all what I want to do. Now it will be able to print in every data of every object instance. Now what I can do, I can create object instances. Now I'm going to say car dealership, it's equals to car dealership. So this is an instance, this is an instance of car dealership. So this is an object that I have created there, and as you can see that I have a default constructor that accepts no arguments. so nothing is mysterious about this. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the first object instance of type car. So this is car, and I know I need to pass in there some data, so I'm going to say Ford, and the price I'm going to say 20,000. And I think I should just copy this and paste 2 times. So this will be car 2 and car 3. So this one will be a Quantum, and this one would be a Corolla. And the prices in here, let's just make it a little bit 18, and this one will be 10. Very good. So this is the object instances that we have created that we need to add inside of our array list in there. So the question is, how are we going to do that? So we are going to use the object instance of car dealership, since that is where it is defined. So I'm going to say car dealership dot, and I am having access to cars there. And then what I'm going to do there, I'm going to equate that to my array there. This is the very first thing that I'm going to do. So what am I doing in here? I am simply saying, okay, car dealership dot cars. So what am I going to do? I'm going to add to my array there. And how do I do that? So I'm going to say car dealership dot cars. Where is that object instance? Car dealership dot cars. Oh, not this one. Car dealership, there it is, dot cars. And I'm going to say dot. There is a way to add inside of your array in Python using append. So what is it that I'm going to add? I'm going to add an object instance which is called car1. So the first thing that I'm doing in here, remember what you did here. You set self.cars equals an empty array. So you have created an object instance .cars.append. So you are adding inside of this array, and then you are adding the first object instance car. So I can copy this and I can paste this 3 times so that I can add car 2 and car 3. So I am adding inside of my array there. Very, very important. What is on the left is added to the right. So I am adding to my empty array. Very important that we see this. So the very first thing we need to do there, just as we said, self.cars equals an empty array. So self, remember, will reference to the object instance. You created an object instance. There it is. Car dealership.cars is equals to an empty array, and therefore you are now adding. And then what is it that we want to do first in there? So the first thing that we want to do in there is to have a print, and this print will print out the data before sorting. And then before sorting, it will print that information for me. Let me just have a print here just for space. And then secondly, what is it that I'm going to do? I'm going to say car dealership dot list car data. Let us look at this method. This method goes inside of your array and just lists every object that you have in there. Very important. Print data will print in the model and the price. So let us just run this and check what is going to transpire. So I have created 3 object instances, and let's see this. And then there we have it before sorting. We have the model and the price, model and price. There it is. It just prints the data that is inside of your list. Let me get rid of this, I'm sorry. And then secondly, what is it that we want? And when you run this, I want you to check. This is not sorted. As you can see, it did not sort this in terms of price. So secondly, what I'm going to do there, which is very important, I'm now going to call the car dealership sort. And I know I have a method which is called sort by price there. Very, very important. So I am invoking this method. So I'm going to have a printout statement that just creates a space for me, and I'm going to have a price there and just say after sorting. And then what I'm going to do in there, remember what is this? This is just a method. What will this method do? It will sort by price. Let me show you. It will sort my data by price, and then I'm now going to invoke the print data once again and to see whether it has been sorted. So I'm going to say dealership.list car data. Now let us look at this list car data method. List car data, what it will do, it will go inside of your array and it will list the data. Whereas the sort, what it will do, it will sort by price. Whereas the what other else methods do we have? Let me show you methods that are worthy of noting. List car data. So the list car data runs in a for each loop. So in here, let's not be confused, very important. Before sorting, car dealership.list car data. And what does it do? List car data runs in a for each loop and prints out the data that you have in terms of the model and the price. List car data. There it was, we saw it. And then secondly, I'm calling the sort by price. The sort by price, what will it do? The sort by price, what it will do, it will go inside of your array list and then it will sort that by price. Self.cars, and remember that sort.cars is your array. It will go inside of your array and it will sort this by price. And then when it is done doing that, I'm just creating some line there for us, and then I'm having a heading after sorting, and after that I'm invoking again this method, list car data. And now the list car data runs inside your self.cars, your array, and now it has been sorted by price, and then it prints that out. And let us see whether this is true. So this was before sorting. As you can see, 20,000, 18 and 10. It was not sorted. After sorting, now we have 10,000, 18,000 and 20,000, and it has sorted this by price from in an ascending order of price. And if I want to sort the price but by descending, what you can do, you can come here and have a comma, and you can have a method which we call the reverse, and you can set it to true, because by default it is false. So when you run this, what it will do, it will sort. After sorting, it will sort in a descending order from biggest to smallest. Something worthy of noting, something that I wanted to share with you wonderful people. So please sit down, try to practice this as many times as you can, and then I will see you in the next tutorial.